In this section, I'm going to talk about draft and shell feature. I guess you know about draft feature because you have worked with drafted pad and drafted pocket in previous sections, but now I'm going to use draft to add or remove material to my solid object here. Now this first solid object is going to be, used for drafting. I can go and select the draft tool from the rest of features toolset, or I can go to insert menu and go to the rest of features and select drafting from here. Now I have two options. I can let Catia select the faces to draft, or I can select the faces that I want to add draft into that. If I click on this checkbox, selection by neutral face, Catia will select all faces that are adjacent to the neutral face. And let's see this first. I click here and I check this. I can see that I only need to select the neutral element. The neutral element is the face that is going to experience no change. So this is a face that I use for that. And now you can see that every adjacent face is selected by default. So I click OK and you can see that it has added some material to my shape, and the degree of change is 5 degrees. If I want to change the degree, I can go double click on draft features and make it about, for example, 15 degree to be more prominent here. You can see that the changes apply to my shape, and you can see that actually I have added material to my shape. Now if I want to remove material to my shape, I can do two things. I double click on draft tool. You can see a little arrow here. By clicking this to change the direction, you can see that I'm actually removing material from my shape. Or you can go have this outward but assign negative degrees to your shape. Now by assigning negative degrees, again you're removing from your material here. Now I'm going to press Ctrl Z several times to remove this draft. And now you can see that my padding is here, the only feature that is available. I'm going to go to insert menu, rest of features, and select draft again. This time I'm going to select the faces to draft, and I'm going to do this manually. I'm not going to select every face. I'm going to have just this face and this face. And the degree is going to be about 25 degrees, and the neutral element is going to be this. Now be careful about the selection of neutral face. If you select a face that is, going to change, it will, give you an error message. So I'm going to have this in Word, and now I click on OK, and this is the result that I have. The next thing that I want to show you is the shell features. So I pan to left a little bit, and now I'm going to insert menu to dress up features and select shell tool. Shell will remove from your shape. So it tells me that body will more than one lump. Because I have two, shapes in one paddings, it will give me this error. So I click OK. That's okay for me because I'm going to work with one of the lumps here. And this is going to be a mess, of course. And I'm going to, assign the thickness of the walls after removing some of this, lump, as Catia, refers to that. So I actually want to be about 10 millimeters, the walls of this shape. And now the face to remove is going to be this face. So I'm going to have a box, an empty box shape after removing some of the mass. So I click on OK, and you can see that this is the result that you have. Every wall and the floor, the walls, every wall has a thickness of 10 millimeters, and the thickness is part of the material. It has not added to material. It has just removed from material. So if I go double click on shell again, I want to show you that you can add to your material actually. If you have outside thickness, for example, I want to add about 20 millimeters of thickness to my shape. This outside thickness is the material that is going to be added to your shape. So I click on OK. Now I can see that 10 millimeters of the shape is for itself because I have 10 millimeters of inside thickness, and 20 millimeters is added to my shape, and that's actually the material that is added. So in some cases you might not want to add material because the dimensions is going to change, or it might interfere with other objects in your shape, but this is the, result that you can receive from your addition. So I double click on shell, and now I want to make this about the 0 again. Outside thickness is not going to have any value, but I can assign different thicknesses to different walls of my shape. For example, this is the default thickness that every, wall that I have not assigned a value will assign this much. But I'm going to go to other thickness faces, click on this, and click on this. Now I have two different faces with two different values to change. So I double click on this constraint. I make this about 20 millimeters. I want to have 20 millimeters on this wall. I go to this constraint, double click on this again, and make this about 25 millimeters. So every other wall have 10 millimeters, but these two walls that I have selected in other thickness faces will have their own amount of thickness. So I click on OK, and this is the result that you receive from this tool. So you know how to add or remove materials using these two features. These are very nice tools to work with, and now it's up to you to work with us.